Your fingers are numb past pain. The tripod won't stay steady because your hands won't close. Behind you, unseen in the dark, the Atlantic is crashing against black stone 40 meters below, and you're standing at the edge of Gatklettur, a sea arch carved through a mountain. When the substorm pulses and the green tears sideways through the opening like the sky is being ripped, in that instant, you realize, you're not standing in front of the light. You're standing inside a door it came through. This arch exists at 65 degrees north latitude, in a region of Earth where the magnetic field funnels solar wind directly toward the surface. From the moment you committed to the flight, from the moment you drove 6 hours past the ring road to a parking lot that doesn't exist on most maps, you were driving toward something. Not just toward Iceland, toward the edge of the place where the sun still remembers you exist. Most people think the Aurora is an Icelandic phenomenon. It's not. It's a solar phenomenon that Iceland happens to sit directly underneath. The sun is always screaming, always releasing charged particles, always burning itself apart in steady state. But only in certain latitudes does Earth's magnetosphere catch what's coming and pull it down. Iceland is one of only 5 places on the planet where this happens with regularity. You could stand at the equator for 1,000 nights and never see what you saw in 1 hour at this arch. The Aurora itself lies 60 to 200 miles above the ground, already halfway to the altitude where the sky becomes black and space begins. From the sea arch where you're standing, it looks close enough to touch. It looks like it's coming toward you because it is. The substorm that lit it traveled from the sun as charged particles riding the solar wind at nearly 1,000,000 miles per hour. It took 8 minutes to cross the 93 million miles between the sun and Earth. It passed through your planet's magnetic shield. It was already a quarter of the way through the solar system when you were still asleep in your hotel 30 miles away. Gatklettur means the gaps in the mountain. The arch itself is Holmdalshafti, a 12-meter opening cut through solid basalt by the Atlantic Ocean. The stone around it is 16 million years old, laid down when Iceland was still being born from the mid-ocean ridge. The arch opening itself is younger, carved by waves over the last 4 million years. 4 million years of tides, of pressure, of the ocean saying no to the mountain and the mountain slowly, incrementally surrendering. And the ocean chose to cut this door at exactly the location where Earth's magnetic field would funnel the sun's most violent moods. You cannot plan that. You cannot engineer that. You cannot even calculate how unlikely it is. Most people who see the Aurora see it from a distance, maybe 10, 20 kilometers away across the snow. That's the photograph. That's what becomes the screensaver. But when you're standing inside the arch disappears. It becomes a black void. You read it only by the shape of light bleeding through it. You're not 10 kilometers away. You're inside. You're separated from the void by 12 meters of basalt. The Aurora doesn't sit above you. It pours through the opening. It doesn't drift. The substorm pulses harder and the curtains tear, rip sideways, like something is being yanked through a gate by something vast and indifferent. Your phone won't capture this. Your eyes barely will. Your brain will spend the next 3 months trying to reconstruct what it saw because it was too large, too close, too immediate. There's a reason almost no photographs exist of this specific view. Not because it's impossible, because the photographs that do exist lie by omission. They light the foreground, give the arch texture and dimension and beauty. They turn the experience into a landscape. When you light the foreground, the arch becomes something you stand in front of and admire. It stops being a threshold. It becomes a wall. And the moment you do that, the initiation is gone. What you're actually experiencing is the opposite. Standing in the dark at a drop you can't see. A vertical void of 40 meters beneath your boots. Your hands too cold to work. Your breath fogging a lens that refuses focus because cold breaks batteries. That's the opposite of a screensaver. That's something that breaks you open. That's something that proves you're still alive in a way that no photograph ever can. Here's what happens in the moment of threshold. The substorm intensifies. The magnetic field 60 to 200 miles above releases more energy per second than 1,000 nuclear power plants could generate. The Aurora doesn't just move. It convulses. The curtains tear sideways through the arch opening, and your eyes can't follow them because they are moving too fast, and your brain can't process what it's seeing because you have no reference for it. You're small. The thing coming through the arch is not. The stone around you is indifferent to your presence. The drop beneath you is real and dark and could end you. and the light coming through is from something burning 93 million miles away that doesn't know you exist. That's the moment. That's the threshold. That's what initiates you into the world where you're not a spectator anymore. Almost everyone interprets this wrong. They think what's happening is that you're privileged to see a beautiful natural light show. That's not what's happening. The aurora, traveling from 93 million miles away, is incidental. It's the excuse, not the destination. What's actually happening is initiation, movement across a threshold that doesn't let you come back the same. You left the world where you own photographs of experiences. You entered the world where the experience owns you. You paid that toll with numb fingers and vertigo and the choice to be small in front of something vast. The aurora is just the signal. It's just the proof that you made it through the door. The world is getting smaller. The places where you're still genuinely unknown are running out. The experiences that break you open, the ones that can't be filtered, can't be soft lit, can't be made safe, those windows are closing. Not because they'll disappear, but because in 5 years, there will be a viewing platform at Gatklettur. In 10, a parking lot with capacity. In 20, probably a gift shop, a ticket booth, a thermal lodge. You'll be able to stand where you stood without paying the cost in numb fingers and vertigo. You'll own the photograph. You won't own the night. This image, the one tagged OC, the one that came from an actual human being standing in actual cold in actual darkness, is the evidence that the crossing is still possible, that it still costs something to arrive. The question isn't whether you'll see the lights. The question is whether you'll choose to cross while the threshold still demands something real.